All right, let's get right into it. So I'd like to start off with where you're at. A little bit about you. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what's going on with like, how did I get here right in front of you? And then I want you to take my story, and I want you to start playing with what you're about. Like, start being very comfortable with who you are. We have awareness, we're taking action, and this video is about just like, who am I looking at? A little bit about me is, I'll go to my teenage years. I'm going to tell you a little bit. Listen to this story for a second. Okay, so I was growing up, and in my teenage years, I was always very athletic. One of my first dreams was to be a NBA player, and then NFL player. I wanted to be this like pro athlete, like a lot of young boys. And then eventually, as I got through my teenage years, I eventually wanted to be a rock star. Again, like so many teenage boys. And that was pretty normal as an average kind of thing. What was my real sort of problem or stuff was that I saw my family going through a lot of troubles. Primarily, it was centered on nutrition, fitness, and finance. And you could say to yourself, wait, whatever. But have you ever seen that in your society where people are struggling with their health and finances? Well, at some point in my teenage years, I saw that really start to affect my family. And, one of the people that I really saw it affect was my dad. And I saw him not being able to get a grip on his health, and then later his finances. And that really broke my heart. That really did a number on me. And so I remember thinking to myself, I was probably 16. I had started working out because one of my high school my girl I was like head over heels over in high school, she once told me I had small calves. We were hanging out, we were in a car with my friends, just like teenagers, and she said, "You have small calves." And I remember feeling so like not attractive to her when she said that. And that next day I started working out. And I've been working out ever since that day. So it's been over 16 years. Like, I think it's been a long time. And so as my family divorced at some point. So this is kind of happening parallel too. So my family divorced somewhere around that time, around 14, 15 years old. And then I was working out, and I remember working out being my foundation, like what kept me sane, and it helped me feel better. And it was a commitment to this process. I remember saying to myself, no matter what happens, I'll never stop working out. As I grow as a person, as I become a person of like me, I have to have a job, I'd rather quit my job than to stop working out, because I saw it. It could sound drastic to say that. I think that if you just take a moment to realize that I saw my family fall apart, mainly because what I saw as a lack of discipline in nutrition and fitness and finances. And I saw there was like some correlation to it. I was a young teenage guy, and I started seeing this. And as I graduated high school, and soon I actually moved in with my girlfriend at 19, and she was going through her own little battle at that time, and here I was, this guy that was committed to this a better life, because I saw like my family was going through a struggle. I think we started out like a middle class family, and then we went into like a very hard, rough patch. And so fast forward to high school, graduating high school, I finally moved in with my girlfriend. It was like a dream come true. I remember still to this day, like walking into the office to sign her lease and holding hands and stuff. And it was just a beautiful Austin day in Austin, Texas, and just feeling so in love, right? And I really believe I was in love. I still to this day, I think I was in love. And so, I finally move in with my girlfriend. I'm on top of the world, emotionally at least, and I'm so committed because I've seen seen a rough patches, and I had scored pretty well on tests. I was a relatively averagely bright person. I had some test scores. I could go to college, and here I was. So eventually, I was working at a store, and I was frustrated. I had an old beat up car. It was it ran fine. But it was the kind of car that one time I ran it through a pothole, and some gas lines broke on the bottom, and it was being held together by this little rubber patch, like to put up the gas lines, and it was crazy. That was my car, and I remember feeling things like embarrassment and stuff because my car was very old, or it was like not a Mustang. I remember I'd go to a stoplight and I'd feel somewhat insecure by if there was a Mustang, and here I had my girlfriend, right? The girl who told me had small calves, and she's seeing these nice cars. I'm not saying I don't know what she thought, but maybe my own insecurities were being projected onto her. And I remember thinking I got to do something better. I got to really go to the next level. Here I was at that age, maybe 18, 19 or so. I was I gotta get to the next level, whatever it is. So one day I'm sitting I ended up working at a supplement shop. This is an important pivot point, actually. So I was working at a supplement shop. It was called Discount Nutrition Center, DNC. I don't know if they're still in business. It's been a long time. And I remember by some stroke of chance, I ended up working at this supplement shop. Now, I loved supplements. I was drinking protein at the time because I had found protein. I was into fat burners. Ephedrine was big back then. And I was just so about it. I would study supplements all day. I was in it. I was immersed in this world. It wasn't just something I did as a job. It was a true passion. Because I was so into taking stuff and seeing how it affected the body. And as you see here, that original story of seeing my father go through his inability to deal with this part of his life, plus my own fulfillment of wanting that for myself, just because it's a good thing to be in shape. Here I was, so immersed in this world, and I remember thinking to myself, "Man, I love this." People would come into the shop, and I would be so excited to help them. I really wanted to help them. I was take protein and do this. I remember thinking to myself, if I could only do this as a job, train people, that would make me feel so good. I was this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, right? I was there's such a thing as a trainer? That's what people do that? And soon I started looking into this, becoming a trainer. Fast forward, I eventually became a trainer, and that career really blossomed. I think my friends would tell me, "You say that," he would say, "Jacob, you say that because you're a trainer." And I go, "Actually, I truly believe I'm a trainer because I say that." And this is where it began, this process. There was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad that back in the day, there was this manager, his name was Peasley Clam. And Peasley, if you're ever get to see this video, hi, how you doing, Peasley? And so Peasley, this guy was 1 year younger. And he told me about this book, and I was wow, what book is it? It was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And Robert Kiyosaki went into the importance of building a business. And he said that was the secret to everything, was just to embrace this concept of financial education. And again, that other element that I was missing in my life. So here I had health, and here I had someone talking about finances. And so I was okay. And so that was one of my first pivot points to welcoming me into this world of personal growth. Soon I joined a network marketing company, and I was training eventually, and eventually that network marketing company didn't work out. But you know what stuck from that time? It was that personal growth, that your income growth will never exceed your personal growth. And I really honored that from that day. I mean, for all these years, I've honored that. It's always been to work harder on myself more than I do on a job. It was, no matter what, I'm always looking at, what is this really making me? What am I really becoming through this process? And that's been my journey of personal growth. This journey's gone on for over a decade. I mean, 16 years. It's been going on for 16 years. Books, seminars, college, I mean, you name it. Application, action, courses, training people, 500, like thousands of spinning classes, 500 yoga classes, certifications. I mean, it's been going on in the entire all this time. And so when 2014 came, I found myself at a transition. I said, look, you've done a certain level, you've hit a certain level of growth, and how are you going to get to that next level? You're still not where you want to be. How are you going to get there? Now, granted, all those years were amazingly fun. I mean, I don't struggle with having fun. Like, it's been really fun and really fulfilling. So to get to the next level where I could feel comfortable to have a family and to have a wife and kids and really go to that next level in my growth, in my phase, in my stages of life, in my evolution as a person, I said, well, what are you going to do? So that's where I started embracing that all of this time, personal growth has been what has made me different as a trainer. Not because other trainers aren't into it, but truly that the mastery of it has been what's made me different. And so the evolution course is, you could say, the child, the creation of all of that collective time and me sharing some of my successes of inner personal growth. And so the biggest wins have been just things like, it could be as simple as buying my first house, paying my car off, stuff like that, having my own fitness team and company and logo and mission statement and teamwork and hiring people and sometimes, having to let some people go that weren't quite the right match. I mean, the journey has been very rewarding and very rich of new experiences. And so I had to take a time out for a while and really look back and say, connect the dots. I had to have my connect the dots moment. And so, and looking back and saying, look, what can you teach people about all of that just happened? Because, there was my moments where I didn't have my first house, where I didn't have a car, where I didn't know how to hire, where I didn't know what mindsets and abilities, and I didn't know how to deal with the uncertainties of life. I didn't really know how to deal with some of the pitfalls of breakups and heartbreaks and just all of these things that make or break situations, that make or break our realities. So in looking at all of this 16 years, this is my story. And it's been a very beautiful story. It's been a story of just so much richness. And the reason I'm telling you my story is, one, it's mine, but two, is that you have a similar story. You may be in your early 20s, maybe you're in your early 30s, maybe you're in your early 40s, but you have a similar story. And you just heard mine. It's one that started with struggle. It's one that started with me seeing my family fall apart to some degree. And there's been struggles you didn't hear, but let's just say that was some of the first that I can remember, some of the most challenging stuff I had to deal with as a person. And you heard the process of how it came to be that this concept of embracing personal growth came when I was working at that supplement shop, how things sort of started, a brewing, coming together, just like a storm, like a perfect storm. And then I told you a little bit about my process as to some of the victories, whether it was starting my company, training people so they can get some of the results, whether it's losing 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 30 pounds, and the classes and the energy and some of the stuff, having a supplement company now that is growing to this day, some of these successes. And I think to myself, why are we so hard on ourselves that through all of these great things, some of my battles have been still feeling like I'm not enough. Still feeling sometimes, not all the times, like that kid that got told he had small calves, right? Like something about our human nature that if we don't deal with our truest, deepest insecurities and our lack of confidences, that sometimes we can have the world at our fingertips, but we're unable to enjoy it. And this is where personal growth hits the next level. Because through all of your wins, if no matter how awesome they are, if you don't get to feel them and enjoy them and immerse yourself in your win, sometimes it doesn't matter what you get, you're never going to be happy. So that's where meditation comes in. And so I want you to think about that story, because you'll hear it throughout knowing me. And I want you to come up with your own story. It's your real, true story. That story couldn't be more true. It's mine. Think about what you've struggled through. What were some of your pivoting points? Just speak from your heart. I want you to think about the journey through to get your wins. And what are some of your wins? The struggle, the journey, and the wins. Because if you get that, you'll start seeing a lot of the theme of your life as up to now. And and it'll help people understand you, the authenticity of what makes you tick. So I want to leave you with that for now as we delve deep. Maybe we'll make this a bonus, I don't know. But this is an important part. It may seem unimportant in a game of action. The reason I think it's connected to action is that to build confidence, to get that action, we sometimes have to embrace what has happened and integrate it into what's going to go forward. So that's my story. Hope that it makes some sense. Again, for your story, tell me a little bit about your struggles. What was the moment where you almost felt defeated? Think about that. What was gonna get you? Tell me about the journey as to how did you get to here, and tell me about some of your wins along the way. And let's really engage in that, feel those wins, and then really, after you've really owned those wins, like, it's been wow, look at my face. Those spinning classes have been amazing. Man, those yoga classes were just wow. And those CrossFit classes, oh my God, like those were just wow, right? And so, does that make sense? Sometimes we just gotta take a step back and say, look at all I've been through. And increasing that joy, increasing that ownership, we can really begin going to the future with more empowerment. It's Jacob Adams. Let's keep going.